This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with the Mark Weber.
Dub them East.
And welcome into the Onside Kick here on Most Valuable Podcast, your one-stop shop for all the latest football news, football happenings. Mark, we're almost there.
Yeah.
We're almost there. Football is officially back on TV. I saw something on Facebook where they counted down every single walk-off touchdown, win it in overtime in the last decade, and it just got me hyped for football. I can't wait for it. They ended it with the Super Bowl, with this past one with the Patriots, walking it off and getting the win in overtime. But we got a jam-packed show for you guys. We're going to be talking rookies. Mark, you get to talk about your boy, the Trubisky.
Mitch.
Get to talk about the Trubisky.
That's my new computer background.
Going to look at Mitch, going to look at DeShone, going to look at DeShone. Two DeShawns in one show might get a little confusing. But then we're also going to look at the big trade that happened also. And we're going to look at two sides of it. The Eagles, I think, are the lesser of the three teams that were in on the trade. So we're going to look at the Bills, and are they in full rebuild mode now? And then we're going to look at the Rams and what Sammy Watkins brings to that team and Jared Goff. But Mark, I want to start with these rookie quarterbacks. And you had all three of them get time in their preseason game. DeShone Kizer against the Saints. They get the win, 20-14, which is important. 11 of 18, 148 yards, one touchdown, no INTs, but was sacked 3 times. Yet your boy Mitch Trubisky, 18 of 25, 166 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. And then Deshaun Watson, 15 of 25, 179 yards, no throwing touchdowns, was sacked 3 times, but got in on an impressive run on the ground. I'm going to ask you this simple question because this has been floating around the internet today. Should Trubisky, Watson, or Kizer start week 1 for their respective teams?
I'm still going with my current answer. Nothing has changed for me, from prior to week 1 of the preseason, now after. None of these guys really should be starting just yet, but I think Deshaun Watson's going to be the first one to do it. That's still where I'm standing. I mean, I think that all of these guys looked really impressive. All of them showed why they were drafted in the first round, why all 3 teams traded up to get one of these guys. It's actually pretty impressive that nobody really looked that bad. I mean, Watson and Kizer both got sacked a few too many times, not necessarily completely their fault in those scenarios because there's a lot that goes into that. Although it does make you a little bit nervous of, come on, protect these young guys. We don't want them getting hurt. You got some other high-round draft picks like Leonard Fournette that is hurt.
Re-injured that foot.
Right now. Yeah, that's what you don't want. So, yeah, I mean, all these guys definitely looked good. I mean, when I really think about it, I'm sitting there saying, is this rookie quarterback going to win me more games than the guys in front of them? And right now, week 1 of the preseason, I'm not willing to say yes to any 3 of these guys that they're going to get you more wins. And it's not a knock on them. It's not necessarily praise of the guys above them necessarily. It's just saying that they looked good against a bunch of backups, playing with some backups, so I want to give them credit for that. I think that all of them showed the intangibles. All of them showed the skills. You got what you want to see. Now it's okay, well, let's see it again.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of on the same boat as you, but I'm a little different. If I'm picking any of these guys actually, let me rephrase that. I am going to pick one of these guys, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, it's the same guy that both of us think should be.
But the only difference from how we're wording it is you said that, you know what, he'll be the first one to take over.
Yeah.
I'm saying after the first preseason, and I get it, #preseason overreactions, but I look at that and I think that the team that he is on, he's the one that, boom, should be starting.
Well, there's
week
really
1.
no one that great in front of him. I mean, Tom Savage
there's people that like Tom
impressive.
Savage. There are people out there that like Tom Savage.
I don't really get why. I mean, he's shown some flashes, sure. but he's never really shown you that he's going to be that guy to take over. People just liked Tom Savage because he was relief from poor quarterback play in the past. Those couple of times he's gotten his chance to shine. But the problem is when he had a chance to shine, he never really shined. And he probably had the best numbers of the real starters in the preseason for these three teams, going 9 for 11, 69 yards. Nothing impressive, but it's the first week. Starters
Mitch
don't play
just
too
got
much.
a lot of throws and a lot of work in his first
Mitch
game.
had over an entire second half to play, and he the difference, I think, a little bit with a guy like Mitch Trubisky compared to the starter, Mike Glennon, or Mark Sanchez, who basically got a drive, is that the offense in Chicago played to his strengths. They said, we know what he can do. We know what he can't do that well just yet, so let's play to his strength. And sure, you can game plan like that and make it happen. Although the Chicago Bears offense has not really shown the ability to game plan that often.
True.
The big thing is just that they did what he did best. I think he can still learn and he can still become better at those other things. That's what you want. Deshaun Watson, I don't know. Bill O'Brien, I like him, but I don't like him at the same time. And I'm not really convinced that he can do that well on his own unless he gets a quarterback like Deshaun Watson who can do it himself. That's when I think that Bill O'Brien will do better. Because he probably should have been able to get something out of one of these guys, and he really hasn't been able to get anything out of any of these quarterbacks he's had so far.
Well, and that's why I'm looking at it to where I get that part of it. Then I think that Deshaun Watson might be different.
Well, he's a game changer on his own.
Well, and he's also a guy where he showed you in week 1 of the preseason. Each of these guys showed you what they could be. Mitch Trubisky, I will say this, although every Bear fan that has come out either on my Twitter, on my Facebook, or on my Snapchat and have been praising Mitch Trubisky, let's be honest. He was going, I get it. You're going to say, well, he even played with second and third stringers, but he was going up against second and third stringers. And when I say that, it's not like I'm knocking him down, get down. It's, yes, the skills were there, but let's not blow smoke.
But what you're really trying to say is that...
Let's be realistic here, people.
Well, not only that, is that he should be better than these guys.
Yes, he should. You traded up to get him at number 2.
Yeah, it shouldn't be...
He should be better than a third stringer.
This isn't a surprise that he should be good. You want him to be better. This is the high school senior playing better than the high school junior, sophomore,
than the
freshman.
JV team.
Yeah, this is the guy ready to go into the NFL who is defeating all of the MAC competition he plays up against.
Not even. I would say that the MAC would be like the second string. I'd say the third string. I would
MAC's
be like
not that great of a conference.
But I'd say the third string is like Mitch Trubisky going up against the NAIA. That's what it looked like out there.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's this fact that he should be better, and you want him to be better. I mean, if you're comparing this to you're playing NCAA, you're playing Madden, you're playing your video game.
He was on pro.
This is when you turn the difficulty level down and you need to turn it back up. When he gets to play against more second and first stringers, you're turning the difficulty up to see if you can compete or not.
I mean, let's be honest. Let's see him go up against Atlanta's defense. Let's see him go up against Tampa Bay's defense. Let's see him go up against Pittsburgh's defense.
You let Glennon take care of that for you.
You notice I'm on a trend here. Green Bay doesn't have a great defense, but Green Bay's defense.
But they can play.
The Vikings
that's a joke of a team.
I want to see him go up against my Viking defense because that's the one thing I can hang my hat on for sure is that defense in town. I think out of the 3, the one that it's like, yeah, you did good, but eat some bench is Trubisky. He's the one where it's like, no matter what, you're not starting day 1 because the teams I listed, that's the Bears. I wouldn't start Trubisky no matter what until week 8. Because then you give him 7 weeks to kind of sit there and learn. And I get people are going to be like, oh, sit there and learn. But your first game you're throwing him in there is the Saints. This is a Saints team that could be down and out by week 8. Could be
week 9, to be fair. They have a bye in week 8.
No, they have the bye in week 9.
No, week 9 is the Packers, I believe.
No, that's what it says here on ESPN. Week 8 is the Saints. Week 9 is the bye. That's what I'm looking at on ESPN.
So you want him to play the Saints?
Yes.
Okay. Why would you
the
have him play the Saints instead of giving him a bye week?
I'm not saying that you have to start him week 8. I'm saying at the soonest.
This is what I think would be beautiful. This is
Let him get the Packer game right off the bye.
Start against the Packers at home. I mean, it would be beautiful. You could start them against the Packers, go into Lambeau and beat them, and then continue a series where Mitch Trubisky will never lose to the Green Bay.
I'm saying,
but that's not going to happen.
I'm saying at the earliest, week 8. And the reason why I would be okay with them starting week 8 is because that Saints defense is nothing to be scared about.
Well, I think that you can't just sit there and say, well, Mike Glennon sucked against 5 good defenses, so let's bench him. You can't go in there and you can't do that. You're going to expect that those teams are going to play well. Now, if he goes out and throws 5 interceptions a game, then yeah, okay, it's time for Mark Sanchez to come in. So that would be fun.
And I'm not. I don't want people to get twisted. I'm not saying like, you know what, week 8, that's the one. I'm saying it the soonest. Could be week 10. Could be 11. Could be it. You know what? Let's wait till 13.
Yeah.
Let his first game be against the Niners, the team that you traded with, to basically Ryan Pace go, hey. You see this? This is what you passed on.
I really
you guys could have had
that
this.
I wouldn't expect him to start any sooner than the bye week, just to give him as much time as possible, because there's still things in his game that he doesn't quite have 100%. I mean, he had trouble in practice taking the ball under center because he never did it in college.
I love it how if he was in a comic book. So far, his arc as a character in the NFL has been phenomenal because it's been highs and lows. I mean, that's what Chicago is, though, right? Highs and lows, where comes out in rookie minicamp. First off, let's start. He gets drafted. Everyone's down on him. Why did we trade up for Trubisky? They're ragging on him but he likes titties. That's basically what we got. He loves titties. That's
loves
what we
kissing
got.
Titties.
That's what we got out of draft night. Then rookie minicamp happens. All the press is like, oh, Mitch is looking really good. Looks like we were wrong about him. Then they get to the training camp. Oh, Mitch is struggling. Back down. Then this preseason game. Oh, Mitch looked really good. And now we're back up. It's like, where are we going to stand
and
with
he's
this
a rookie,
guy?
so I think that's expected. I think that's what you kind of want. You want bad things to happen, too, so that way you can learn and you can fix them. There's nothing wrong with Mike Glennon throwing a pick 6 to almost, start off his night. Because you can sit there and say, Mike, you threw into quadruple coverage. Why'd you do that? And then you can learn from it. Unfortunately, Mike Glennon's not the rookie in this situation, but he's still a fairly inexperienced player. So you can learn from something like that. Now, the good thing for 2 of these guys, but also a problem for 2 of these guys is
it Kizer and Trubisky?
Yeah, is that they've got these people sitting in front of them. Mike Glennon is a guy who's getting paid money. Mark Sanchez really isn't much of a starter. Mark Sanchez is really there in case Glennon gets hurt week 1.
Yeah.
So that way Mark Sanchez can play. Trubisky will probably jump over him if Glennon gets benched. Now the problem that I have for Kizer is the fact that he's sitting behind Osweiler, who's an expensive guy, but also a guy who has shown some flashes in the past, and then Kessler, who's never gotten a fair chance. And I think that
I liked Kessler
both
after
of those
seeing
guys,
them play.
Yeah, I think both
After
of those guys should get the opportunity to start before Kizer goes out there, and I think that's fair. And I think that Kaiser's the kind of guy who probably could definitely be advantaged towards taking a little bit longer to actually get his first opportunity. I just don't think that. I don't really think any of these guys should get rushed out there. Deshaun Watson doesn't really have anyone necessarily better than him in front of him, so I think he deserves the right to go out there and compete and win it. I just don't think that after the first preseason game, any rookie should ever be given the keys to the car. This is when,
unless it's like Andrew Luck drafted number 1 overall, or like Jameis Winston, Mariota types.
Although to be fair, Trubisky was drafted number 2 overall, but there was a bit of an asterisk there of we know that he needs time.
He wasn't the same kind of person as like Winston and Mariota.
Yeah, though. So I think that they just got the driver's license. Sure, you'll let them drive to the grocery store down the street and right back, but you're not going to let them drive out at 10 o'clock at night to go party with their friends.
Or you're like,
calm down a
hey,
little
we wanna go to California. No, you're not.
You wait a little bit, and then, if by week 3 you want to give that rookie the chance to play that whole, not the whole game, but that, the whole stretch. Yeah, the whole stretch of the week 3 of the preseason, the good one. Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with any of these guys doing that, but it's probably under the assumption that you're also going to be playing week 4 because you're not starting necessarily, except for maybe Watson.
Yeah, and I mean, my big thing getting off of Trubisky a bit, because I think Kizer's in the same one. I wanted to talk about DeShone Kizer to give the Browns fans something in this, so it's not just all Trubisky and Watson. The thing watching the Browns-Saints preseason game was when I tuned in, I got a lot of Cody Kessler and I got Kizer. I didn't see a lot of Brock the Cockadoodle-Doo. However, Cody Kessler to me looked to form. Like when I looked at him, it's like, you know what? This is the guy. He had a beautiful long pass to where I'm like, you know what? That's the guy that should be starting. Yeah, I know he went 5 of 10, but he only got 10 passes to work with. And the thing you knew Kizer was going to get a little bit more. The thing that bothered me with Kizer at this point is I know you kind of want, like, it's a good thing I'll always have the feet moving, but he kind of looked skittish back there. Like, what's going to come? And then, like, I know he had 2 deep passes, one of which being a 45-yard strike to Jordan Payton, but I believe there was one that was right on the money where the guy gave him a little in and out kind of a thing, shaking the cornerback and then getting the safety, getting on the outside, getting past him. Kizer hit him with a beautiful ball right in the breadbasket. But I want to say it was the touchdown to Jordan Payton where it was a little bit where it's like your guy had room on him and you short-armed him a little bit where he had to slow up to catch it and then turn on the jets. And I mean, that's something small, real small, where it's like
that's what you work on in practice.
You can learn that. I mean, you're the new rookie, but if I'm the Browns, if I'm the Bears, I go ahead and just say, Rook, you're going to be on the bench week 1. Like, we're not going to rush anything with you coming in. It's the Texans, to me, that really have, I don't want to say the pressure, but they have more of the opportunity for Deshaun Watson, because I'm telling you, that run that he had, I know it's one play and I know it's a microcosm. I'm not going to do the same thing that like I was complaining about with Bears fans that I've seen on Twitter and such. But because of the pieces that they have around him, they have the running back, they have weapons to throw to. That defense is scary. I think Deshaun Watson can give them a better chance to win. And I mean, we didn't even talk about we talked about the Bears schedule where they have, the first 8 games, I'd be like, Mitch, you ain't going up against that defense. Same thing with DeShone Kizer. You think I want to throw a rookie up against Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and then, oh, that's right, you get to play Indy. I know Indy's defense ain't that great, but I'm not sure if you can score over 18 points. And if we don't score at least 19, Andrew Luck for sure wins.
Well, if Andrew Luck is there.
If he's there. But, I mean, by that time, I'm hoping that he's there. And then you get the Cincinnati Bengals. I think DeShone Kizer, his game, if you're going to be like, you know what, I'm not happy with Cody Kessler, week 5 would be a golden game for him. The Jets. Just give him the Jet game because the Jets aren't going to do anything this year. But you see the Texans, they get the Jaguars, who are great on paper. They get the Bengals, who are good but not great. They get like Tennessee's in there. Yet again, I'm not scared of that defense. I'm not saying it's a bad defense. I'm not scared of it. The Browns, I'm not scared of it. The only 2 in that first 6 games before their bye, the Patriots and the Chiefs. Those are the only ones that are like big, tough opponents early on for the Texans.
Yeah, I don't think you want to rush anybody in there. I mean, Deshaun Watson's the guy who, for me, I'm not really caring about the schedule that much. I'm not really that concerned about the pieces around him, although obviously he does have the best team around him.
Yeah.
To me, it's just that Tom Savage is not really much competition.
Are you going to go to the playoffs with Tom Savage? That's the question you got to ask yourself.
No, I don't think you can. I think you at least have a chance with Deshaun Watson. And to me, what I view as the next step for these guys, none of these guys are starting week 2 of the preseason.
Yeah.
there's not really much of, bumping Deshaun Watson up. You just let him play longer. For me, if I'm the Chicago Bears, Mike Glennon gets a little bit longer to play. Mark Sanchez isn't even going to play week 2. You don't need to see much out of Mark Sanchez. You know what he is. That's why he only basically played it down.
Like you said, he's there in case Glennon gets injured.
Yeah, I mean, you just basically say, Glennon, you can play a little bit more. And Trubisky, you get all of the second-team reps as well. And unfortunately, you can't really do that for the Browns because you need to see Osweiler, you need to see Kessler, and of course, you need to see the rookie. So you definitely have all of that. But to me, it's just give these rookies a little bit more, and then let's reevaluate and let's see if maybe one of these guys can make the leap to start week 3, because that's a big one. That's a big test right there. But the problem with that, too, is you take a risk because you don't want, let's say, Kizer or Watson or Trubisky to go out there and start week 3, kind of suck it up, and then get back down to, second or third on the depth chart and have them sit there and stew over, oh, wow, I really fucked that chance up. You don't want to necessarily do that either. It's one of those hard things to, once you put somebody out there, they're out there. It's their job at that point. And I mean, obviously that's not true. You can take it away if you want. But you take it away and you start fucking with that confidence and that psyche, and then you get a guy with the yips.
You don't want that. Don't want that with a rookie quarterback. But the next time we're going to see these guys or their teams in action is the Bears and the Texans will be this Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern for the Texans, 10 o'clock Eastern for the Bears. Bears at Arizona, Texans hosting the Super Bowl champions or defending Super Bowl champions, New England Patriots. The Browns, we got to wait till Monday. They're on Monday Night Football playing the New York Giants. So that's the next time we're going to see each of those 3 teams. But I want to turn it on to you guys. Let us know. What do you guys think down below in the comment section? Should any of these quarterbacks start week 1? Which one are you most high on? What did you think from their performances in game 1? Let us know down below.
What about
in the comment section
too? Talk about Mahomes. That's the real. I said earlier that Kizer was a first-round pick. He's a second-round pick. Mahomes is the real first-round pick.
I want to bring that up for one quick second, because when I was talking to Dave Friday, he was like, Mahomes didn't look that good. But I'm like, Mahomes didn't get a ton of opportunities. He didn't get a ton of attempts.
A lot of people are getting a little bit down on him, but I think it's an overreaction.
No, it is. We know Alex Smith is the guy for this year for the Chiefs, but let us know down below what you guys think in the comment section.